Happy What We Watch Wednesday. Welcome, welcome. We are on our penultimate episode of Industry HBO, having a great time talking film and television. We've been on this journey. We've got the announcement that Industry HBO is ending next season, 5 seasons of Industry HBO. We've been locked in. We are day ones. Shout out to Mickey and Conrad for this absolute gem of a show. Tej, welcome to the stage. Happy What We Watch Wednesday.
Thank you. I'm just I like when shows end before everybody can get tired of it. That's one of my favorite things, but
Okay.
this hurts. This is the same amount of seasons as Succession. That's not lost upon me. Succession also could have kept going, and I would have been perfectly fine to continue to watch that for another 2, 3 seasons. Industry, I would have been able to watch for another 4 or 5 seasons because we've already seen how they could, keep it fresh, change scope, change really what the show is. Whereas Succession really doesn't change as what the show is. It's one linear story. Whereas Industry is clearly a bunch of stories that are interconnected, and we kind of experience different parts of these industries through our main characters and our main cast. So they're ending it after next season. That means we have 9 episodes of Industry left. And I'm grieving. I'm literally grieving the loss of this show already. It's been such a phenomenal ride. I can't wait to see how they end it, but I'm very sad to hear that it is ending at the same time.
Me too. You keep saying it's as long as Succession. Succession is only 4 seasons. So Industry
Oh, I
gets
thought it was
five.
5. Okay.
Ciao. I remember putting Succession to rest as well. Hi, DJ. Hi, Theo. Welcome to What We Watch Wednesday. Yeah, it's gonna be sad, but I agree with you, Cheech. It's good when shows know when to end. Like that means the writers are in the room cooking. We're gonna get a nice, pretty bow on everything. We have seen what happens when the hype catches up to the greatness and then we can't maintain that. Game of Thrones. So it's a little bit difficult when we don't get that. And so I just love when a show knows when it's time to be over. Luckily, the beautiful thing about the world of entertainment that we are in, Happy What We Watch Wednesday, just because the show is over doesn't mean we can't go back and watch it. The Wire is 5 seasons, and you can watch The Wire whenever you want to, and it's great. So, TJ, don't say nothing to me about The Wire. Okay, don't say nothing to me. But that being said, I titled this chat Baddies and Villains, which is really kind of redundant in this when it comes to Yasmin and Harper specifically. And I wanted to talk specifically today about Yasmin and Harper because I'm glad all of these are on the record. What we watch is in here. What we watch, uh, it's all on record and we say what we need to say. And you can go back and listen to us. We know what we're talking about. We do this. Uh, Industry actually aired in November of 2020. That's when we started doing these shows for what we watch, end of November 2020. I can't believe we're going on our 6th year of doing this together. Wow, I've invested so much into this, and I'm so glad to have you all here supporting me. It is not an easy task, but I do it because I love it, and y'all make it so fulfilling every time we do this. Next week, we'll be here with Paradise on Hulu. So I'm super excited. But I just need to tell y'all, like, this is the I told you so moment for everyone because I told y'all about Yasmin Harper. Teach told y'all Yasmin Harper. We're just gonna everything is gonna end up with them two sitting together. Everything is a romance. We're just gonna end up sitting with them two together, talking about how much they love each other, even though they are literally part of each other's downfalls, no matter what happens. They are always at each other's neck. But there's this like undercurrent and understood like foundation of like I fuck with you, I just got to get my bread. And I think that's really beautiful. I don't know if that like reflects in real time in real life for the average American person, but it's so cool to see Yasmin and Harper kind of find their way back to each other, whether it's on a yacht in the middle of the Amalfi Coast or if it's at a, dinner at a freaking like estate and castle of Henry Muck, or if it's at a rave making out. Like they always find each other. Tej, that has stuck out with me this last episode outside of Henry's imminent demise and Whitney or whatever his name is, the puppet. But talk to us a little bit about what you're seeing with Yasmin and Harper.
Well, I think it's fascinating because obviously we got them to go out and have a night on the town, reminiscent of some of our older seasons and their interactions. But I think just like all the other times, this is going to go bad. We actually have seen three nightclub scenes where someone steps out for a night out in this season, and they've all gone extremely bad. Actually, four. We saw the one with Henry Muck and his father, quote unquote, that obviously didn't go well. We saw the one with the journalist and the assistant that obviously ended very badly. And then we saw the one with Henry and Whitney, and we see the state of Henry and Whitney's relationship as it is.
Uh,
So,
Rishi and the journalist.
and Rishi and the journalist, like, so that's four. So every time we see a night on the town between people, they have all ended badly. I think this one will also end badly, but not end badly. It'll be, you know, something me and Monique talked about after this episode is this show has done such an incredible job giving us the same thing over and over again, and that's not an insult. We have seen Harper and Yaz together, Harper and Yaz separate, Harper and Yaz come back together, Harper and Yaz separate throughout all of these seasons of TV, and it still feels so fresh and it still feels so earned every time they either come back together or separate. It feels like that's what they should do or should like in that moment. And it made sense that now that both of these people have are on the same quote unquote side of trying to take down Tinder, it makes sense that we would have them together. But unfortunately, I think that it's going to go bad. I think that either Harper is going to throw Yasmin under the bus, which because
Of
like
course.
Yasmin's whole plan is too clean. She just like, oh, I'll just act like I was the one who was against this and just blame everybody and throw everybody else under the bus, including Henry. That's way too clean. This show never works like that. So I like the fact that we got this episode of her being a media darling, a comms baddie. We've been saying that we didn't know that. She, like, what does she know about comms? Well, she's literally using Henry's uncle against him and leveraging the media power that was against her last season to her advantage. That's really cool to see, but I think it's going to come crashing down like a house of cards. And I think that we will end the season with Harper and Yaz on opposite sides again, or at least like not buddy buddy again. So it was nice to kind of get a return to this because we don't know if we'll ever get something like that again. Now that we know we only have 9 episodes left, well, we could never see them have a night where they're partying and taking drugs and living their best lives ever again. And so I enjoyed that moment for what it is, and I enjoyed it even more now knowing that with the end is near, like
Mhm.
the end is in
The
sight.
end
So
is
I really
nigh.
appreciate that.
Yeah, I love that you said, and y'all welcome to the stage. Come on up. I don't see anyone, and I love listeners as well. But come on up, give me your tease, your feedback on the baddies and villains. I call it baddies and villains because if you think about it, if I could recap the video or the excuse me, the video, I could recap the episode for you. We start off with Henry and Yaz just going at it for the 17th time, basically like Tej and I spoke about. We get the same thing over and over, but it's better each time. I watched a recap of the season and the person couldn't help but say somehow we get better week to week. And I think, if you think about Succession and all of the kind of, perspectives around comparing the shows, Succession started off high and stayed there. And but industry has this thing where it does the same thing over and over, but in this really unpredictable way. Like it's simultaneously unpredictable and then it keeps getting better, which is very exciting for viewers like us, right? Like how we don't know what's going to happen, but we know what's going to happen. Like when we see two people come together, we know for a fact it's not going to work out. When I saw Eric Stern and or Harper Stern and Eric Tao get together, I knew it was going to fail. But how it's going to fail, and that's like the bread and butter. Like that's the cream of the crop of this show. And so we've got back to the recap. We've got Henry and Yaz. Then we've got Henry and Whitney. Then we've got Yaz and everybody that's going to help her, as head of comms, take everyone down. And then we end with Yaz and like Harper. So this episode was very much a Yasmin episode, which historically speaking in this show, I've loved. I love a Yasmin episode. She's hot, she's messy, she's very insecure. Everyone really kind of minimizes her to her looks and how they relate to her in a certain way. They never look at her as like a person on her own. And so I believe that character really gets to be really enticing, but also like curious and thought provoking. And like, it shows about how we feel and view women that are hot and how we feel and view women that are somewhat successful in their business and like somewhat successful in like reaching their goals. She did marry an insanely rich man, but he's been taking L's ever since she got married to him, right? So there's very much a yin and yang. And so I think with this episode, seeing Henry and Whitney together, right? And that abandonment, right? Like Yasmin is used to abandonment. Henry is used to abandonment. They've got each other, but Yasmin is like, I'm about to abandon you. And it's one of those things where it's like hurt people hurt people. And when you're at your most lonely, Harper and Yaz. Harper was just also abandoned by Eric in the previous episode. When you're at your most lonely, you find another lonely person and y'all just kind of click up. Maybe you go to a rave. Maybe you make out. Shout out to all the bisexuals, right? The bi curious. This was a very gay, episode. This was a very gay season, right? Shout out to the gays. And I love how it's put on Front Street and again as a tool, not as like a statement on sexuality, but more so how everything is so fluid and so dangerous, right? So we've got these two people that really struggle with abandonment and find each other. And Tej, you're already like, this is not gonna go well. But Tej, you said one thing, and I want to humble speak. But Tej, you said something about Yasmin's success rate in this, and you kept talking about how she's gonna succeed and how she wants to bring Henry down. And I kind of pushed back a little bit, right? I was like, something tells me she's not fully committed to seeing Henry fail because it does kind of mean that she has to start all over. And I don't know if Yasmin's ready to fully start all over. So I feel like she's going to try to like take him down with a little bit of cushion, or he's going to be able to like break her down in some sort of way. What do you think about that? Because that's where I'm at.
He may be able to escape the full blow. I mean, he is a wealthy white man, although we don't know how wealthy he really is, but we know that his family is wealthy. But it seems like all of his money is leveraged in Tinder, which yikes. But I don't think that she's trying to spare him. And if you look this
Anyway,
episode, we I think it's like very good framing. We start this episode with Henry and Yaz. They are in the midst of a heated argument. That's when she realizes Henry Muck is broke or potentially broke. Like he goes as Tinder goes. And ever since then, they do not even have a conversation. She resigns from the company. She doesn't tell him. Meanwhile, Whitney has also abandoned Henry, so he's there left holding the bag. I think that he will be able to duck the jab because he's a
d-
handsome white
let's
man, and
let's
he
speak
always does.
plainly. Do you mean the jab of in jail time, or what jab?
I think that the amount of consequences he's going to suffer, other than financial ruin, are going to be minimal, and that ruin is
Same.
probably not even going to be real because he can always have his uncle or anybody else in his family just give him some money. So I don't think that he's going to crash and burn, but I
Right.
also don't think that Yaz is trying to save
Trying
him
to pull any
or
punches.
worried about what happens to him. I think there might be another scene or two between them, but I think that they are
You think she's
drastically on
done?
opposite sides. I think this is over. I think it's done.
You think it's done. You think it's done. I think we got a lot of that in the first scene of this episode, right? Where she's like, oh my gosh, you know what? You're right. You're so right. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, you're right. We need to just, and then boom, we see the rest of the episode where she's like planning her exit. I'm just not fully convinced by my girl, Yaz. Yaz, you get a little soft, and I don't know, you don't really go all the way because you be trying to leave this man, you don't really go all the way. But I will say that the resignation without communicating with him was a big step. One humble, welcome to the stage. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. What you thinking?
Yeah, I think I'm with Tej on this one. I think she's completely done with it. It's kind of similar to like what she did with Rob when she even got with Henry, when she saw that he was not on the same type of like wealth or like status as Henry, she was like, "All right, I'm done with this. We're gonna have one good fuck, and then we're done." But also, probably the best decision she ever made was leaving Rob alone because now he gets to go live his life out in the U.S. and be great.
Right.
Um, I will say, Tej, you brought up a really good point about the motif of like the clubs and stuff. I will say, I think those other characters, the one thing that was a little different is like they weren't being honest about their purpose in those moments, right? Like the reporter, he was basically lying to get into like that girl's house so he could get information from her. Um, what's his name? Rishi, he still wasn't even being honest about how much of a problem his addictions had become. But I think with Yaz and Harper, they're at least being honest with each other,
Very honest,
being
very
able to
vulnerable. Yeah.
listen, to your point, sometimes I hate you, sometimes I love you, and here's the reasons why. And I wish things could be different, etc. So maybe things will turn out differently for them. I don't know what that will look like, but that was kind of like my thoughts on the combo so far.
Man, if they kill my guy Henry Muck, my namesake, I'm gonna be sad. Kit Harington is too hot.
I think he's
But
going to a psych ward. I don't think he's going to.
okay, okay, good. They're gonna straight jacket my
Ooh,
guy.
rehab.
Okay, I'm okay. That's why I think. And thank you for saying that, Tish. This is where that's what I think is going to happen. I think Yaz doesn't actually want him to fail. She wants him to improve so that she can kind of, and it's not in a good thing. I don't think she has any like real, like actual care as long as it affects her in the best way. And I think it's best for her to have Henry kind of rehab. And so I think she's like, I'm going to send you like on your way, but like you really need my help. And I just want you to need my help. And so you're going to go to rehab and see, I'm going to be the one. You're going to
Let's
see how
see.
valuable I am to you. And so that's what I mean by like, I don't think she's pulling punches. I don't always know the colloquialisms, but I think she's like, yes, I'm going to take you down, but I don't want to take my husband down. I just want him to suffer a few consequences and need me a little bit more because he's a little too big headed right now. He talking a little
Well,
bit too much big shit. Go ahead.
remember, her and the uncle are having a conversation, and they literally say
Hmm.
he needs rock bottom. Like
Yep.
there's talking about rock bottom. That means, and also he literally says in this episode, he says something to the effect of like, "I am a good person, and if the world doesn't see that, why am I here?"
Right.
We already
That
saw
that
that he
that that's scary.
we already saw that he tried to commit suicide in this season of
Trigger,
television.
trigger word,
So,
trigger word.
sorry, trigger warning. We already see that he tried to harm himself earlier in the season. So I don't think that even if Yaz was trying to give him a half measure, like you can't do that with someone in Henry's position because
Right.
he is
Right.
on the. This could be the his 13th reason. So I don't think
Yep.
that that's what Yaz is doing. I think Yaz fully understands and knows
I
that
don't
this
think
could
she
send him over
does.
the edge.
I don't think she does. I think she thinks she has more control than she does, as always. Henry be wrong. Henry ain't shit. Henry, as with, but broken clocks be right a few times a day, right? Because when Whitney said, you know what? You know why you can't handle your emotions? Because you're a fucking child. That's basically what Yasmin has been telling him for forever. And we've already established that mirror between Whitney and Yaz for Henry, in the last couple seasons. So, or in the last couple episodes. So I think Yaz is unaware. I think she thinks she has more control than she does. I'm just going to make him suffer a little bit. And then he's going to need me. And then I'm going to be able to get away properly, but he's going to be okay. And I'm going to walk away with something out of this marriage. That's what I think. But I don't know. Maybe Yaz is on her calculated game. Midas, welcome to the stage. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. What are you thinking about Yaz Harper, Yaz Henry?
Hey, great conversation so far. And I think with Yaz, I try to believe in her, and then she gives me like a couple of reasons not to.
Thank
At the
you,
end
Midas. Yes, I feel like people are a little too hopeful. Y'all know she be
exactly,
playing, man.
exactly. And with Henry, I think I really want to like him because I mean, Kit Harington did a phenomenal job with this role and showing like vulnerability with addiction and all of that. But I think he's hit rock bottom. So I don't get this whole he needs to hit rock bottom first. He's been there
Right.
and wallowed in it for a couple of weeks or months or whatever the timeline was. And
Right.
then that whole trip happened with him having the whole party scene with his dad and hallucinating and all of that. And then Whitney comes in with the job offer. His wife convinces him to take it. And then he's being plunged into it again, all because his wife wouldn't allow him ask the questions he wanted to. Because I remember some scenes where I think Harry goes, "Are you sure?" And at the audit meeting, he was like trying to ask questions, and he would talk to
Yes.
Yaz, and Yaz would be like, "Oh well," and he hesitated at the meeting with the Dutch people, I think, with the
Clock
bank.
it. Clock it.
Exactly. And he kept on asking questions. And she was like, "Oh no, I'll smooth it over. I'll stay back." I was like, "This is confusing. These people are racist. Why do you want to stay back here?" And she kept on pushing and pushing. And now it's time to, get the jabs. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna dip. This has gone too bad." And all that. And she goes back to Harper, who I think does not fully trust her, but she's putting on the front and just leading her to the line, leading
No,
her
my
to the
goodness.
line. Once her, Quebena, and Sweet Pea cash out, they're just gonna cut her loose because I think Yaz is too, I'm Nigerian, and this something we say in our culture is like own it with your full chest. Like if you're gonna be bad with your full chest. If you're gonna be good with your full chest. I feel like she hides behind people, and she'll push you to the
Mm-hmm.
fire when it's time to get burned. She'll be like, "Well, I didn't do nothing. I don't know anything about that." I think Harper's clocked it, and I think she's just like going with the ride. And when it's time to cut loose, yeah, she's gonna snip that thing right away. So, but
I,
great conversation. I'm gonna
yeah, I
join your
agree.
club, and I'm gonna do
Yeah.
my list of the best picture. I love movies and I love
Oh
shows.
my
So
God, I'm so glad you're here. That just made my evening. Thank you. Happy watch what we watch Wednesday, Midas.
yeah,
I agree, man. Like that's what I was about to say. Like, I don't know why y'all trust Yes to fulfill a thing fully. She's gonna get a 70 to an 80 on that test every time. And it's just not gonna ever be done fully and correctly. She be in her feelings. She got a lot to work through. But something I also appreciated you saying, let's talk about Henry and Whitney. Or whatever Whitney's name is, child. And what y'all think about Whitney. I need the Whitney
who
theory.
knows? Who knows? Jeez.
Henry Henry, I like Henry too. Here's why I like Henry. I know he's a petulant child. I know he's your standard narcissistic male companion, business partner, all of the things. I think Henry, and maybe it's just because Kit is so good at his job and he's hot. I don't know. But I think Henry is really endearing to me because at least he doesn't mince his words and lie. Okay. The thing about a lot of other people is that they'll try to lie. I think Henry believes everything that comes out of his mouth. And it's just a little endearing to me because I'm like, at least he's not lying to you. At least he's telling you straight up. So you have opportunities to be like, this is how you're never confused about how Henry feels about you at any given time. He doesn't respect you. He loves you. He doesn't want you to fail. He also doesn't want you to be better. He doesn't want you to think you're getting better. He doesn't want you to think you got better without him. All of these things can be true. Is it fucked up? Yes. But Whitney is an insidious, fucked up liar. Whitney will look you dead in your face and lie to you about everything. Everything he says is a lie. And then he'll go back and believe his lies. But it's like, no, you're lying. Oh, Henry, you're great. You're the greatest. You're not. That's not true. That's not how you really feel. That's not sincere. You're not being sincere. You're trying to boost me up so that I feel the need so that when the shit goes to when the shit hits the fan, whatever the damn saying is, I feel big upped and I feel a little bit more responsible while you dip out to the next country or the next island or whatever under your real name, Joseph or whatever. I don't know. Like that might be the only reason why, we want to like Henry. He's a little bit there's no reason to like him. He's a terrible, wealthy class, old money. My dad hates me, typical white, wealthy male. None of us can relate. But it's like he has an awareness like, I want the world to love me. And whether you have $1 billion or two pennies to rub together, That's relatable, you know? And is it good that you yelled that to your wife as your life is crumbling down? No. But I think it's pretty sincere. I believe I'm a good person and I need people to believe that. And if they don't say it back to me, then why am I here? That's relatable. That's relatable, right? At times. One humble, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I think that's his major weakness and flaw, though, is like
Oh,
because he needs that validation from everyone else, he's so susceptible to other people's, to the whims of other people. That's
the
why
child.
Yasmin's able
Mhm.
to get him to like have sex with what we now know is a call girl. Um, you know, like it just I feel like if he wants to play with the big boys, he's gotta like put his big boy pants on.
That's what Whitney was trying to tell him.
You
Whitney,
know?
broken clock. Whitney, don't
Yeah.
I
So
don't fuck with Whitney. But
I think if he had more control over his emotions, you can want everyone to like you, but you don't need everyone to like you, and that's the
that's the line.
difference. And that
Hmm.
is the difference. And so, if he had just been like, you know, I want people to like me, but I have a very clear vision of what it is that my purpose is, he wouldn't be in half of these situations. And he is a
And
liar because he defrauded his investors with his first investment.
okay, that's true. That's part of the game. The game is the game. Everybody on this show is a liar in the case of defrauding and trying to make money. But in this case, I think, and someone posited also that Whitney is a victim also in his circumstance. Whitney's a little too good at this for me to like really own that, but I don't think the person is wrong. Tej, you said this kind of briefly in the last chat that we both noticed that Whitney is also a puppet. So, you were like, Monique, I know you finna be a villain apologist for Whitney in the blink of an eye. And I was like, I don't know, not quite, not quite. I have my boundaries, I have my red lines. But I saw someone saying, like, hey, like Whitney's actually a puppet because you see the real issue in this kind of crazy downfall of Tinder and their presence in Africa and all this stuff. Is Whitney also being puppeted? So therefore Whitney is puppeting Henry and everyone's just a victim? Are we like struggling who to really call the villains here? What's happening?
No,
Okay, go ahead.
the Whitney is a villain, and also the Russian government is a villain, and also Henry is a villain, and also Yaz is a villain, and also Harper is a villain. There's nothing wrong with that. Like we feel differently about all those people or all those entities because of how they're presented on screen. And I think it's very hard to make a show where you kind of hate everyone but also love everyone. But that's what Secession is. Like these are not none of those people in Secession are people that you want on your friend group. None of them. But like the Tom is funny and cousin Greg is funny, but we know that these are all bad people who are uber privileged and doing bad things to the people around them. But I mean, Roman is literally he's disgusting. He's nasty, but he's also
He's my favorite.
incredibly entertaining to watch.
I
That's the
love
same thing
Roman.
happening on
I
Industry.
love my Romulus.
Harper is incredibly entertaining to watch. Yaz is incredibly entertaining to watch, even though we know that her idea of herself and her idea. I think that's what makes the show so good, or one of the many things that makes the show so good. Is hearing Harper talk to Yaz about how she's jealous of parts of Yaz's life, while Yaz's life is literally spinning out of control for like the 20th time in this show. And Yaz being like, "Are you fucking serious? I know that you come from a harder background, but you are a boss ass bitch. I wish I was you. Are you
I
serious?
wish
You
I
out here
was
getting to it.
necessary.
I wish I was necessary. We
Ev-
started in the same spot, and look where you are. Like, I wish
Everyone
I
is.
was you. That's real. Like the fact that they're able to connect on that level is just amazing to watch human to human and to watch them both share that intimacy because we know, especially Harper don't share intimacy with anyone. Like that's not who she is.
You try
Eric
to
was
share
trying to
sympathy with Harper, she might have you killed or fired. She gonna leave you.
Eric was trying all season to get her to open up, and she was basically like, "Fuck you, no, I'm good." Like, so to see them have that genuine moment of intimacy is just so incredible. But there are no good guys on this show. There aren't even
I
anyone
I
who is remotely good.
I think from a standpoint of like just like literacy terms and like what's required to like the formula of, a film or TV show or an episodic series or whatever you want to call it. I do think there's necessary like labeling of characters that we have to have. And I wonder if you have labeled everyone a villain, then who was the protagonist? Or have we just really kind of transcended all the needs of necessary characters and formulas for successful TV shows and industry? And I'm okay with that too. I think Harper serves as our protagonist. I think Yaz also kind of serves as our protagonist. I don't think it's one of those things where if we step out of TV for a little bit, if you are a villain for doing bad things, and everyone is a villain and no one is a villain, right? And so I think it's interesting, like how we weigh what everyone is doing. I think the more sincere, honest thing is, I don't think I want any of these people to be my friends. I don't think any of these people are good people. But is everyone like by cinematic literacy like or literature like definition a villain here? Maybe, but I don't think so. I don't think I would put Whitney and Yasmin and Harper in the same level of anything at all whatsoever. Harper could never. She could try, but she would fail. Whitney, however, would succeed. Yaz is constantly being reminded how she's only there if she is useful, right? Which is why she's like opening up to Harper saying, I want to be necessary. You can't talk motherfucking crazy to me because I'm necessary. If it's just my looks, if it's just for me to be the wifey type, if it's just for me to kind of build you up, then I'm extremely irreplaceable. And Harper, you've created this world where you are not replaceable. And so that's what you're kind of talking about, this kind of level of, I admire you, but no, I admire you. It's just two women, typical two women, never happy with where they are. They always see another woman and they want to be like her. You got straight hair, you want curly hair. You got curly hair, you want straight hair. You live in this city, you want to live over here. You live in the country, you want to live in the city. It's this whole thing, but it's this beautiful kind of romantic intertwining that I don't know. I think maybe it's just because I'm just a girl too, but my girls aren't villains. Harper is. But I think we're rooting for Harper for sure. I think Harper is the villain because she's forced into it. Nem, welcome to the stage. Happy what we watch Wednesday. Welcome back. Talk to us.
Hey, it's good to be back. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to call out a couple of things. One, as far as Henry and um, uh, is it Henry and William?
Whitney.
Whitney. Um,
Who knows what his name is? So you can say
right,
whatever you want.
right, Mr. Chameleon. But I feel like in a way, like their dynamic is very interesting. They're both emperors without clothes, but like in different like mental stages. Like um
Hmm.
like Henry doesn't have, all he has is belief in himself, and that's even on shaky ground most of the time. But he really doesn't have anything else going for him, right? He just still has enough charisma to work a crowd. Whereas Whitney is like, I can convince people to
And persuade
buy,
people.
yeah, to buy in on things, but I don't have enough substance to carry anything. Like you can't look at me for too long, or else I'm going to,
Creep you
poof into,
out.
yeah, I'm going to turn into a cloud of smoke. I'm going to disappear. Um, part of Whitney's allure is that he's aloof. If you look at him too long, he's gonna. It's kind of like the way he runs his business. It's all vapor, right? Whereas you can look at Henry and you see the person, the substance of the person, but you never really seen him connect with anything he's trying to sell. Like there's nothing, he's in that basket of CEOs you pull from, but he doesn't have any particular passion about
Yeah, he's not
anything.
anchored in anything.
Yeah.
And
And
Whitney
I
saw
think
that. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
and I think
fitting.
that's his weakness. And that's what got exploited in the first place. And so Whitney, I really associate him with like Sam Altman, like the open AI guy. Like the whole you know, AI folks, companies are like just passing the buck to each other, right? Because when Whitney said I have a hole in my bucket, I was like, oh, yep, that's it right
Yep.
there.
And he said
um,
it a few times.
yeah, and I was like, okay, so this is kind of like for me, it was an allegory towards like a lot of what's happening in the financial and um, technical industries right now, as far as like keeping the money flowing. Because if the music stops, it's all crashing down.
Yep.
So so that was my deal with Whitney, and then with Harper and Yaz, like I said before, seasons ago, they love each other. This moment was always going to come back too, and and I agree with Tej that they're going to probably be at odds at some point towards the end, or maybe they like finally link up like Voltron and take on the last season and burn everybody down to the ground. But yeah, I definitely agree. They can be themselves with each other, and they find a lot of value in that. It's not. I don't think it's so much their relationship is a trustworthy one.
Right.
Like they will run game on each other, but they know who each other are, and so and once they have that, they can appreciate that, and that's why they were having those. Oh, I adore you. Oh no, I'm jealous of you, because they really see each other. So that was really cool.
Yeah. I think I love that you said that. And Diner, you can speak next, and then Edwin, and then Midas, I got you after that. I think that's what it is, right? Like if you bring it into real life, like do we want to be friends with any of these people? Not really, unless you throw me some bread, then we can work it out. But is something, if you know this person is going to harm you and you continue to associate yourself and you have these moments where y'all kind of like reconnect, eh, I'm not gonna say they're not harmful, they're not pieces of shit, but like you know what you're dealing with, right? I tell people all the time, there has to be some bad people so I can continue to stand out as a great person. I don't need everyone to be good. I need everyone to be self-aware and to be honest about who they are. That's what I need everyone to be. Stop being a liar. Stop trying to pretend like you're one thing when you're not. And I think when Harper and Yaz get together, that's what they do. They take off the facade that they have to be in front of all of these other men specifically, right? And they're just themselves. So is Yaz going to be shocked when Harper does something fucked up to her? No. Is it going to make it any less fucked up? Probably not. But she's not going to be like, oh my God, I didn't see this coming, I have no defenses. Harper's like, yeah, this bitch can fuck me over tomorrow. We could kiss tonight, she gonna fuck me over tomorrow. Let me make sure I got all my ducks in a row. And you can show each other people's hands when you know the game, when you know what their play is like. So I think that's really fucking beautiful. I think it's very unique. I love when shows can do this very well and still kind of blindside us, because when Harper does fuck over Yaz, or Yaz does fuck over Harper, we're gonna be shocked too, but not shocked that it happened, just what it was, right? Darn in the Dash, go ahead, welcome.
Hello. I like the conversation about, or just Yaz and Harper's whole relationship and the different ways it's manifested itself over the course of the series, but also the way the characters are presented. But just for something that people talked about earlier, when Henry gives that speech to Yaz at the very beginning of the episode about how he needs to be good. The writing and the delivery of that line was so spot on, because that is literally only someone that grew up very rich and never had to worry about fucking anything could ever come to that conclusion about that being the point of their whole existence. Like, it could only ever come from someone like him. But I
He
actually,
would have
in
slapped
the way he
Yaz talking
delivered it,
about
like,
money. He
yeah,
like, shut up. Who
it
cares
actually
about
seemed,
money?
yeah, it actually seemed pure the way he delivered it, like,
Yes,
because
he
he's
believes
never
it.
actually had to worry about fucking anything. um, between Yaz and Harper, the way the show's presented them, I think, matches their personalities, and I can only assume that the show has done this intentionally. Like, we've seen, I think Harper's the protagonist, but Harper's sort of a reserved, lurking in the shadows, gonna come and bite you in the ass kind of girl.
Mm-hmm. So
And
stab your ass.
you get to know Harper more as a character, sort of in that way. like her brother just sort of shows up at the end of the her first season or second season, and she has a twin, but she doesn't know where he is, and then she kind of find him, but then you get a little bit of that relationship, then it's really unsatisfying, and like, did you really get anything? And then like later she just drops on everyone, her mom died, and you sort of know she's grieving, but that's really, as far as directly seeing it in the show, you don't really see it much after that, because I think that's the facade that Harper exudes towards the world. Whereas Yasmin, you see a lot of her trauma and everything she's going through, like right there on screen. It all happens right in front of you. So
Yes, good call.
it seems like we're sort of closer with Yaz because we see directly her go through more of the shit, like and she's more open about it herself. She like talks about it. She shows more emotion than Harper does. Um, but the one scene I go back to from the first season that I don't know if this is actually what they're trying to do, but Harper is walking around in the grocery store after work or something in season one, and she sees Eric with his kids when his kids are like little girls, like 8 or 9 or something. And she's gonna like, and it's like super cute. He's like being a good dad at that point, or at least it appears that he is.
Right.
Um, and like Harper's gonna like she initially goes to say hi to him, but then she sees him with his kids just like being a dad, like completely out of the Pierpoint world, and she turns around and is like, "Nah, I'm not fucking with that." Uh,
Yeah,
and so I think that's like Harper's character in a nutshell, is that she is the lead, the protagonist of the show, but she's so reserved, and the show sort of keeps it Harper in her zone that way. But
period.
that's what makes the way their relationship ebbs and flows so interesting, because I like this like when Harper and Yaz like end up throwing haymakers at each other and get in these like fights. You don't sure exactly, or at least I'm not smart enough to ever know exactly what the two of them are thinking. So when they're like either duking it out or they're like coming together and bonding, like I never know exactly what's coming, and the way that it constantly keeps us on our toes is just really fun. And I
I
can't
love
wait for the
that.
finale.
I love that. I can't wait for the finale either. Midas, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think I agree with everything you said and what the last speaker just said now too. But I'll give you Harper being a protagonist, but I don't think I'll give you Yaz.
Okay.
Because anytime I watch shows, I have this like conscious meter that I just do for fun, and I place people or the characters on it. And for this particular season, I have like a whole 5 person um villain pyramid, and at the very top is William Stroke Russia, and next under that is Yas. I think she's just diabolical. And then maybe every other person, Harper, then Henry. I just think people like Yaz pretend, and maybe it's because I don't like pretenders. You know what I'm saying? And like I said earlier, to my other point, if you're gonna be bad, just be bad with your chest. So that's all I was gonna say. Like, yeah, we'll take Harper as a protagonist for the show and all of
I
that.
like that.
But yeah, because her
I think
childhood and things that happened to her. And then just quickly before I go, I think I have 2 theories. I just wanted to share with the whole community. One, what if Harper makes enough money and ends up buying Pierpoint? I don't know if that's realistic. And then for this particular season, my theory is Henry's gonna be the pin that blows the whole thing up, and then he checks himself into rehab. I think the whole plan Harper Yaz has is gonna backfire, and it's Henry that will control his own destiny and then check himself into rehab. My theory, I don't know, but yeah.
he has the resources and the network to do it. I don't know if he has the balls and the mental capacity, but he definitely has the resources and network. Teach. We've been talking a little bit about it. Let's wrap it up with some theories. Midas gave you his. What are some theories about where Whitney's going to end up? I can tell you real quick. I feel like we're not. Whitney's probably done out here, but he went out with a bang with that speech. And I don't think that speech was for nothing. I don't think that speech was to just contrast his exit. That speech to Almiraj Pierpoint was for a reason. And we started off the show with Pierpoint. So I know we're going to come back to our beloved chaotic place. But Teach, what do you think is going to happen with Whitney, with Yaz, with Henry? What are your theories?
Well, I don't think that Whitney is gone. I know that we end the episode with him not being in the office and his phone being left there. I don't think they would have showed us Whitney trying to escape and how how far away he was from actually escaping if he was just going to be able to escape after that. Although maybe Whitney is dead, that could be the case. I doubt it. I hope that we don't kill that character off screen because that performance has just been so magnificent.
Right.
I think that the season will end with looking like Muck has lost it all, but then somehow next season, either on camera or off camera, we will hear that he's like didn't fall as far as we think that he did. And I think that Harper is going to do something awful to Yaz in terms of the position that she's in, and that's going to further send them on opposite sides of things. I don't know what's next for Yaz, but I think that Harper is going to get a big, big, big come up from this whole death of Tender thing, and then
Okay.
she will jeopardize that fortune next season and put her back in the same place. But I think that's where everybody's going to leave out, and I think Whitney, if he's not dead, then he's going to die. I think that they're going to actually kill Whitney or at least have Whitney do jail time because we've never really had anyone do jail time on this show other than Rishi, who is in jail, and we didn't actually see him get taken to jail. I think that we're going to see
Yeah.
Whitney get arrested.
I love that. That might be the next chat for the finale before we wait for season 5, right? Is like, what are the real consequences that these people face outside of death, right? Or just like no longer being on the show. It's super interesting. We don't really see a lot of like real time on screen consequences. They're kind of just like, yeah, that guy's done. Or yeah, what happened to that guy? Oh well, whatever. We got to keep moving. Edwin, I see your hand up. Go ahead. What are some theories?
Uh, I don't think so. Thank you for inviting me, and man, I missed a lot of good times coming here because there were some really good episodes before. I will be back for next week's next what we watch Wednesdays for the
Hey,
finale,
period.
but uh, I don't think Henry Muck is gonna make it out alive. I feel like the way like the season has talked about his death and seeing like his Hamlet's saw his ghost dad's ghost scenario and the way like he has like this trigger warning for everyone suicide idolation in the second episode. It definitely feels like he's not gonna come back. It's definitely gonna be a whirlwind of an episode for him, seeing like his name in the tabloids, and he's just gonna be like gonna call his uncle or try to figure out Yasmin, like what's the plan, even though Yasmin already kind of has her escape hatch ready to go. Especially like since he has the resources and he doesn't really do much, he just tagging along with Whitney. So I definitely don't feel like he'll be back. For Whitney, it feels like he might just be in the wind right now because it just he did
It's
what
like a
he
little
had to do.
cockroach. I feel like Whitney's giving cockroach.
Yeah, he's definitely, shout out to Max Minghella. He was really good this season.
Hmm.
And if anybody hasn't seen the talented Mr. Ripley with Matt Damon and Jude Law, I highly recommend that one movie. That's really good.
Very
Definitely
good
like a
movie.
inspiration in that performance that we saw with Whitney, especially like at the at New York, just giving that speech because he's like he has to pretend like because that's what these grifters are. It's like they gotta sell these things to like make people see the vision that they got, and so now it's like, all right, Whitney's in the is back against the wall, and he's like, all right, I gotta sell this thing, and by the time we get back home, I'm just gonna dip, and
Edwin,
I
Edwin,
just
you know ball. We talked about this in the last episode. Definitely tap in on YouTube for sure.
oh yeah,
We
yeah,
definitely talked
I
about
definitely.
that.
Please, also, you guys can go back on the recaps and watch what we watched. Definitely good stuff to go back to.
Yeah.
And yeah, for Yasmin and Harper, it definitely seems like things are at peace by now. But I feel like, yeah, since we've seen like Yasmin like connive her way through like Henry's uncle and that British tabloid newspaper editor, it just feels like she's just trying to like will her way to Harper because she sees like she is being honest that Harper, you have things like people would take you seriously, including men, while I was at the mercy of my dad. And even though like Harper wants what Yasmin had, it's just that Harper is more like I had to do the work. Yasmin just kind of seems like helpless, and she's been like helpless since season one. And then anytime like she has to face adversity or like has a moment of like I'm gonna stand up for what's right, she just fails every time. So she goes to people like that's reminds her of her father. So with her father, she sees like Henry. It'd just be like, oh, like I'll just go attach to this guy because she wouldn't go to Rob because Rob was not going to be. She wouldn't stoop down. Is like, all right, I'll just stick with Rob for the rest of my life while he scratches off this lotto ticket. I just want security. So it definitely feels like we're gonna get like a moment between Yasmin or Harper of like definitely like Harper, you like, you know what? I don't want to deal with you, Yasmin. You're kind of a terrible person. Even though they're both terrible, it just Yasmin really is, I feel
Right.
like more toxic. Because even at times
Interesting.
when if we remember Nicole, she sexually assaulted Venetia in that meeting, and Venetia came towards Yasmin, and she's like, "Oh no, we'll talk to somebody," and that it never went through. Even when that woman at the mansion, she told him, it's like, look, Charles abused me and there were young girls. And then she was like, okay, like we'll try to figure it out and talk it out. And she told the butler, get rid of her. So it's certainly like we're definitely gonna see like a nastier side of yes, this
Man,
finale for sure.
man, all right. Y'all being really hard on Yes. All right. Okay. Y'all being really hard on my girl Yes. The men are being really hard on my girl Yes. I need some girls because Yasmin's just a girl. But no, y'all are definitely not wrong about, y'all's assessment of her. She's definitely tough. But dang, having her at the top of the pyramid of this villainy, man. Okay, I'm interested to see the finale. Y'all, thank you so much. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. This has been Industry HBO, the penultimate episode of season 4. We've been doing this for 5 years and counting. I would love to be able to continue to do these every week. We need your support. Please hashtag what we watch. Make sure you watch the videos on YouTube or just share them. We are the only service streaming your voice, not just digital content. And we really want to make sure that we all work together so we can continue doing what we watch every Wednesday. So thank you so much. Happy What We Watch Wednesday. Ciao.